Okay, well, hello again, everybody, and good morning. It is my pleasure to introduce Mariko Folk, licensed clinical social worker who works with Turner Geriatric Clinic to present chronic pain and mindfulness-based pain care. Mariko, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Jen. Do you hear me? Yes, good. Well, good morning, everyone, from my house to yours. It's a weirdly strange new normal, and I'm sorry I can't see your face, but I know you see mine. So I'm happy to talk about chronic pain and a little mindfulness-based pain care I have been offering at Turner Senior Resource Center until pandemic. So let me start. Last week I had I got here a wonderful lecture, and the speaker said he would do without PowerPoint, and I really envied him. I wish I could, but I need PowerPoint for my notes and my memory. So bear with me on that one. Let's see. Okay. Somehow it doesn't. Okay, good. I have to do this. My mouse doesn't work. So first, I'd like to acknowledge all these people who have enabled me to do this work. So starting with the very top, Dr. Denges. If you are Turner patients, you would have probably known him. He is now retired, beloved geriatrician. Several years ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I had been already doing mindfulness based group for people with depression and anxiety at that time. And he came to me and he said, Mariko, do you offer mindfulness based therapies for people with chronic pain? Because he said there's only so much medicine can do. And he really wanted to offer his patients a little bit more than he could offer. So I said, well, no, and I don't know anything about chronic pain. So I thought, well, I will start studying. So I got books, anything I could get, hands off, chronic pain, and some mindfulness-based chronic pain things. But you know how between work and busy life, my progress was really tedious. I was really slow. So after a few months, or I don't remember, a year later, my good friend Peg, who's a retired social worker, and she had experience of chronic pain, offered to help me. So we got all the books from the library and some other places on chronic pain. And Peg, took notes. She read a lot more books than I did, and took all the notes of each books. And I remember there are 9 pages without any margin and really little fonts. 9 pages of all the notes. So thank you, Peg. It really helped me kind of broaden my understanding of chronic pain. And then Vidyamala Birch, she's the founder of Breathworks, that's out of UK. And she has written this wonderful book called You Are Not Your Pain. And out of all the books we read, I really liked that one. And that was really based on mindfulness-based stress reduction coming out of John Kabat-Zinn Zen. But she had like 20 years of very severe chronic pain herself. So she's kind of modified, and BSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, kind of added more things. And that's really what my groups are based on. And then Dr. Claw is the director of U of M Chronic Pain and Fatigue Research Center. And he gave, many years ago now, maybe 5 or so could be 4 years ago, wonderful lecture at Turner Senior Resource Center. And I took meticulous notes and I went to his website. I learned a lot from him. And then my wonderful research team, Marcos, Tom, Barrett, they have been actually we started doing some research on my mindfulness-based chronic pain group, what helps and what works, that kind of thing. Both people who are participating in the group and control group. And of course, all those came to abrupt stop at the beginning of pandemic. And then older adults in my mindfulness chronic pain care group, I had 2 groups last year, spring and fall, and they were courageous enough to sign up to attend this 8-week class, which I will be talking to you more in details later. And then the 3rd group started the beginning of March this year. And as you know, by 2nd week of March, we had virus arrived here in Michigan. So we just had the first session, and then now it's in a big pause. And then lastly, I have been co-facilitating monthly arthritis support group with wonderful Maddie, who has arthritis herself. And this has been going on maybe 5 years now. And I've learned so much from those brave people who live with chronic pain every day. So thank you all. Okay, so what I am planning to talk to you today is, maybe you know more than I do, but complex nature of pain, and then how last 20 or 25 years, we know so much more about roles the brain plays in this. And then what is mindfulness, and how it might help with the pain. And then I will talk about our mindfulness-based chronic pain care group. And then hopefully, I hope you can join me, do some of the mindfulness practice, the guided meditation that we use in our group. And if we have some time left, I might go to some research findings. So let me start. Okay, so we used to see pain as the direct response to injury. So, something, body gets attacked and we have to take care of it, right? However, so in 1960s, the world-renowned neuroscientist Patrick Wall and his colleague developed this gate theory of pain. And what it is, so gates in the brain and nervous system, when it's open, it allows us to experience pain. And when it's closed, pain's experienced kind of reduced or sometimes even stop, even though body might be sending a continuous pain chatter of pain signals to the brain. So that is an interesting theory at that time, and now it's widely accepted by scientists. So pain gate. So we, if you have chronic pain, of course we want pain gate to be closed, because if there's nothing much we can do about it. Oops, my microphone. But it's pretty complex. So factors affecting gate to be open, emotional state, mental activities, including our thoughts, our attention focused or scattered, and then what if we are expecting the pain to come or not, and then fatigue and poor sleep. So researchers are searching for ways to close the pain in people in chronic pain. And mindfulness training may be one of the ways to contribute into this complex process. So two individuals with the same damage to the body, we expect they probably have the similar intensity of the pain, but that is not necessary. So I remember Dr. Claw showing us two x-rays of the knee, and one looked really, knee was really damaged, and the other looked pretty, normal. And he asked us which person, and these are his patients, which person experienced more pain? And we of course said one that looks really deformed. And he said, no, the other one. So X-ray does not reveal who gets pain or even intensity of pain. Okay, so why is that? So because, pain is so complex. As you know, it's not a normal experience. So it, grabs brain's attention, right? Because we are to survive, for survival. And then overrides all the other claims. And neurons are in tremendous pressure with stress hormones. So, perception is affected by memories, anticipation, other sensations, emotions. And of course, as you know, none of the medicine worked for a long time at this point. So this is more of that, what we are talking about. Let's see. So here it is. So this is pain, right? Fire, ouch. So the message goes out here and then spine, and then from spine to come back. So even before you are noticing your finger get burned, your hand gets pulled out before. So it could, before we get to the brain, it could come back and then goes to the brain. And so messaging, the nerves and spine and brain are constantly messaging each other to determine how we experience pain and what we should do about it. And then the brain here, key areas in the brain, here's a cerebral cortex, thinking part, right? So we think about, or we perceive it, interpret it, all that kind of things are here. And then this midbrain is where the emotions are. Fear, anger, frustration, even relief, it's all here. And then this is the brain stem, the automatic functions such as breathing and heart rate. And that can also change in response to pain. So constantly, there are lots of messaging each other is happening as we process pain. So the yellow highlight are the three sources of pain, okay? Peripheral input, such as inflammation of tissues and neuropathic pain, damage in the nerves, and centralized pain. It's the brain part, processing of the pain. So we used to think, certain diseases are from, one, for example, arthritis might be peripheral pain. Diabetic neuropathy might be neuropathic pain. Fibromyalgia might be centralized pain, but that's too simplistic. So current contemporary view of chronic pain is interplay of those, no matter where or the pain had originated. If you've had chronic pain, for months, for years, it is an interplay. So it does explain some why individual differences in pain sensitivity, and also population-based studies also confirming that certain osteoarthritis, uh, 30, there's a very difficult medical term there, but I'm not gonna go there. So 30 to 40% of those people are pain-free. And even diabetic neuropathy, only 20% of people have pain. So there are lots of differences and interplay. Okay. So since 1990s, as you know, we have a lot more neuroscience and we know a lot more about brain. And, partly thanks to all the neuroimaging, all the technologies. So I have 2 slides on role of the pain in relating to, role of the brain in relating to pain experience. So brain is the one that generates the pain, even in the absence of external stimuli, such as you probably heard phantom limb pain. Even the limb was cut out, there are examples of people felt the pain in your feet and your foot wasn't there, phantom limb pain. And this was documented in 1994. So it's really not that long ago. It's 25 years ago. And then we now know brain perceives pain and modifies it. So if we are tired or irritated, it might amplify the pain. And if we are relaxed or content, it might temper down. And as we saw in the previous picture, different parts of brain get stimulated as we experience pain. Memories, anticipation, moods get all linked up. And while the conscious mind is still unaware. So all these are happening. And they say hypersensitive and stable brains the most significant factor at the root of the pain. Okay, emerging role of the brain continues. And we know more about effects of emotion. We used to think emotions are just psychological, but we now know it has profound physiological effect. And that's also since 1990s. So emotions could change the physiology in our body. And we know now role of memory is huge. And most of what science tells us, most of what we experience is based on our past experience. Perception is also mostly based on knowledge stored from the past. And that was 1998. So one of the example is some, the seeing, it's a sensation. So when we see something, we think, in the brain, retina is most activated, but only 20% of activity of visual pathway comes from retina, and 80% comes from cortex. So, when we see someone, if that person reminds of someone from the past, that also affects how we see. Most perception, including the perception of pain, is generated internally. This one was 2010. So up to here, that's our kind of basic knowledge of chronic pain. So summary. So pain is both sensory, cognitive meaning thinking, and emotional experience. And our memories of past experiences, fears, or anxieties can play an important role in our experience of pain. And pain transmission is a result of complex peripheral and central process. And different people have different volume control on how they experience pain. Like this. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to move to mindfulness and pain. So mindfulness has now become really widely spread, and I don't have to probably explain to you that much, but and then I'm sure there are many definitions of mindfulness, and this is the one I like to use. So mindfulness is the awareness that emerges by paying attention to the present moment experience. But how? Without judgment and with gentleness and kindness. And those are tall order. It's not easy at all. It's hard to pay attention to present moment to start with, because we are constantly, planning ahead, worrying about future, or regretting the past, all sorts of things. So coming to present moment, which includes not just to around surroundings, but our internal present moment experience, current thoughts, current feelings, body sensations. And without judgment and with gentleness and kindness, this is really against our intuitive, automatic tendencies. But that's what mindfulness is. And this is not something black or white. We can cultivate. So this is Dr. Gilliam from, I think he was the director of Mayo Clinic Pain Rehab Center. He says pain is an interpretation by the brain. So pain is a sensation, and sensation therefore is an interpretation. Okay, so it's an interpretation made by the brain before pain is consciously felt. So the brain fuses together information from the mind as well as body. So thoughts, memories, and emotions really are a very important part of how we experience intensity of pain or suffering. Okay, this is, so when, we experience pain, we make effort to solve it, because who wants to have pain? So our mind teases apart all the different sensations to try to find the underlying causes, right? So what sensations are these? When was the last time I had these sensations? What could be the causes? And because we want to solve it. So we zoom in, amplifies our pain, right? We analyze the pain and sift through our memories for the occasions we had suffered similarly in the past, and it searches for a pattern or clues that will lead to solution. However, trouble is, if we have had suffered from pain or illness for months or years, the mind will have a rich tapestry of painful memories on which to draw, and not much of the solutions. So as we do this, body gets tenser, mind gets more stressed, and worrying the future. And these are the things that happen while our mind is still not aware. So that's just before it's consciously become aware, these things could happen. And then brain tissues for pain, as we do this, get finely tuned to sense pain more quickly, more intensely, just like muscles. Body, the weight, when we do the weight training, muscle gets thicker. Let's see, I have the notes. anyway, it's not really showing. But anyway, so the brain scans confirm the people who've had chronic pain had more of the brain area dedicated to sense the pain. So it does get thicker. And then you senses pain more quickly, more intensely as the result. So this isn't a very good attempt, but it's my attempt. So as you have seen, pain sensations have all these elements, right? Thoughts, emotions, what's causing, this is killing me, how long is it gonna last? Do I have to live like this for the rest of my life? And then that all kind of amplifies the pain snowballing. So what mindfulness can do is we can uncouple these two, relate differently to pain. Thoughts are thoughts, not facts. And also, rather than react to these, we can relate differently. So the role of mindfulness as, I have my, anyway, it's okay. The role of mindfulness in reducing suffering from pain. So this is a summary, and this also is how I do in the groups. So we'll talk about it more. So mindfulness helps us to acknowledge pain sensation without amplifying, or without amplifying as much, because it acknowledges thoughts as thoughts and not facts. Even thought it says, my life is a mess, or I cannot go on like this anymore. That's not the fact. It's a thought, because you notice you are going on next moment. And then also emotions as well. We acknowledge emotion as emotion, not as an accurate reflection of who I am or what the world is, such as I feel worthless. Doesn't mean you are actually worthless. That's emotion. That's how you feel. I feel hopeless. Well, that's an emotion. Maybe you are not hopeless. So acknowledging emotions, so teasing out those two separately, and become aware also of how our activities affect our body, our pain, and then learn to pace it rather than reacting, to each moment with knee-jerk reaction. And with kindness to self instead of harsh judgment towards ourselves. And then it also helps us broaden our perspective of life, getting connected with others and nature instead of isolating ourselves. And we'll talk about it as we're gonna be dealing with these things in our group. And this one is added. So this is just one study of neuroscience by Richard Davidson's group. That's University of Wisconsin Neuroscience group on mindfulness and compassion. They did this experiment, they published in 2013. So they had a group of experienced meditators and non-meditators. And each one had to go into functional MRI with all kind of brain, wired. So the researchers can see how your brain is working. So they were given like wrist metal around the wrist, and which is they can kind of control the heat level. So when the heat is really high, it's very painful. It's almost burning, right? So these subjects were given this heat at beginning, so they know what is, and they were assured it's not gonna kill you, it's safe. And they knew what the pain is. And then, then they got into the MRI, and the brain got monitored. So the interesting part was before this heat was administered and after the heat was administered. So before, while the pain, the intense heat was there, both groups pretty much similar, you know, their pain part got activated. But the interesting part was before the pain started, so when you are anticipating and when you are recovering, the non-meditators had pain levels, their activation was there. While meditators, these are experienced meditators, they didn't have any activities. So that was just an interesting study. Okay, so let's see, where are we? We still have time because, so this is the group therapy, mindfulness-based chronic pain care that we offered last year and abruptly stopped this year. So this is 8 weekly sessions with vigorous homework. Because what we are after is to create new pathways in the brain or new habit of mind. So it's not just in the class, we need to practice. Like any other habit, if you want to establish a new habit, we have to do it again and again. So that's why the daily homework is a key point. And each session has a specific theme and task, which I will be talking shortly. And it is a group therapy led by, well, it says experienced therapist. This slide was made when I was trying to recruit people. So that's me. So try to make it reassuring. And it's a supportive, safe environment with probably 10 to 12 people max. So whenever we try anything new, like, when you want to try any like new clothes, it doesn't feel like it's yours yet, and you might hesitate, you might be kind of resistant. So we really need safe, supportive environment where it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay not be able to do well in your mind. Because we have it's amazing how our brain works. We constantly measure ourselves. Am I succeeding? Am I failing? Am I doing good enough? So supportive, safe environment is crucial. And then we had course books with handout summary of session and CD with guided meditations with my voice. And then this is an insurance covered therapy program if you had depression or anxiety. Okay. So session 1, the theme is breathing body. And it's really for us to experience, not just in our head, but through the body. The pain is not as solid as you might think. And the chronic pain education that we just went through, they're gonna also do that here. But there's a body scan meditation and habit release, so that's homework. So I thought we will practice a little bit so you get some flavor of it. It's a little bit different from typical body scan meditation. So if you don't mind, and it's from comfort of your own home. So I'm gonna guide you. So maybe we can do together. And I just want you to be comfortable. And usually in the group, we do it in lying down. We have really comfortable mats, but right now just to sit on your chair. And if you feel comfortable, closing your eyes. If not, just leaving your eyes open with soft gaze. So let us begin by turning into the movement of breath beneath the hands. If you have your hands above the belly, just noticing the subtle movement of the belly. As we breathe in, the belly expanding. And as we breathe out, subsiding. We don't have to breathe in any particular ways. If you can just let the body breathe itself. Just noticing. And what about the chest? Can you feel the ribs expanding on the in-breath and retracting on the out-breath? Can you get the sense of the lungs filling and emptying within the chest with each breath? Between the chest and abdomen, a large muscle called the diaphragm rests across the body, from side to side and front to back. On the in-breath, the diaphragm broadens and flattens down inside the body. On the out-breath, it relaxes back up to rest beneath the lungs. Again, shaped a little like an umbrella or a parachute. So just noticing the echo of the breath, very subtle. So if you can't feel anything, don't worry about it. But over time, you may become receptive to a subtle broadening and opening on the in-breath and retracting and toning on the out-breath. And now seeing if you can get any sense of the breath in the whole back of the body. As the diaphragm moves within the body, it involves the back of the body as well as the front. Becoming curious about what you can feel in your back with the breath. What are you noticing? Maybe you might even feel the echo of the breath in the lower back. If you got any pain or discomfort in your lower back, can you allow it to be massaged by the breath? A breath that is saturated with gentleness and kindness, bathing the lower back in tenderness. See if you can respond to your own discomfort as you would naturally respond to a loved one who was hurting. Can you feel the movement of the ribs in the back of the body as well as the front of the body. Expanding on the in-breath and retracting on the out-breath. Perhaps reflecting for a moment on how the ribs and the lungs are as much in the back of the body as the front of the body. Maybe this is a new idea for you, but becoming aware of the movement of the breath in the back of the body is naturally calming. And of course, I'm skipping a lot for the time given. So we are moving the spotlight of our awareness to your face now. Okay. So have your face in this spotlight of awareness, so to speak. And what are you noticing in your face? If you're noticing any tension, is it natural to soften and release it in the light of awareness? Soft lips, soft tongue, soft cheeks, soft eyes. Can you allow the back of the mouth and the top of the throat to be soft? Letting the breath flow freely in and out of this area. Can you let your jaw hang a little loosely, unclenching the teeth? This may help this area feel a bit softer and more receptive to the flow of the breath. Now expanding the spotlight of awareness to include the entire body as a whole. So it's like really expanding the spotlight of awareness and kind of imagine your entire body in the spotlight. Legs, torso, front, back, sides. Just noticing any sensations or lack of sensations. The arms, neck, the head, in your gentle awareness. Can you get a sense of the breath in the whole body? Gently expanding on the in-breath, subsiding on the out-breath. If you got pain or discomfort, can you let these areas be gently massaged and soothed by the gentle rhythm of the natural breath? Allowing the breath to be saturated with tenderness and kindness. As you rest with the natural and continuous movement in the body, with the natural breath, you may notice how sensations are also continuously changing. What you think of as pain or discomfort is actually changing sensations coming into being and passing away moment by moment. And you only ever experience this flow of sensations one moment at a time. Pain or discomfort is not as solid as we often think. Can you get a sense of how sensations are fluid, like the breath, as you rest within the breathing body, resting within a sense of change and flow in your whole body, Every pore of our skin is actually breathing. So whole body breathing in, breathing out, moment by moment. As you allow the breath, be gentle, tender, and kindly. Thank you for trying. So this is what we practice in session 1, whether they had any mindfulness practice before or not. And then they are given guided meditation with my voice to take home and to practice this every day. And also, habit releaser is a homework. So every session we have homework of meditation and habit releaser, sometimes more other things I'll be talking about. So just watching nature for 5 minutes every day is what they do for the first week. And then session 2, you are not your thoughts, and really experiencing it. And they learn different modes of working with pain, doing mode and being mode. And doing mode it's also called problem solving mode. You know, when we experience things we don't like, or difficult, unpleasant, uncomfortable, we want to fix it. And that's so natural, right? And so that's called doing mode. So, however, when we don't have total control over the issue, and we can't fix it, we tend to ruminate over, how could I do this, which kind of gets us into more depressive, anxious moods, and that also worsen the pain experience. So we learn that, and we learn the vicious emotional cycles that this doing mode triggers. And then we learn the being mode is how can we be with whatever is, whether they are inconvenient, uncomfortable, how can we be with it without reacting too much? And we do breathing anchor meditation and watching the sky and weather pattern and the sky as a homework. And session 3 is a mindfulness of moving. So we do gentle mindful moment. And the people who have come to my groups, they have, severity of pain, of course, varies, but some people are really, really painful. So we can't really do much of stretching sometimes, but I don't know. But just like snapping of the fingers and noticing the sensations there, or rotating wrist. And another movement we do is like the movement of, taking off the sweater, kind of like this. And again, to the extent you can. So we really teach people to take care of yourself. It doesn't have to be a wide motion. It can be small. But so some gentle movement and really noticing physical sensations. And of course, thoughts and emotions might be there too. Like, I can't do that, before you try it, and, or a sense of relief, whatever. So, and then homework goes into becoming aware of your daily activities and keeping a journal, diary. I have the next, let's see. Yeah, like people are given the chart like this. This is example. So you just go through one whole day, main activities only, for 5 days, which is a lot. So without any, people think we know, but when you really mindfully observe, you might find something that you didn't know. There might be surprise. And what they do is, like this one, for example, breakfast, sitting, and then times taken was 30 minutes. And then it's from 0 to 10, pain level. Pain at the end, there's a pain level before and end. But anyway, so pain level 5, and what was the tension? And this pain level at the end was more than when you started. Or so then you have a plus. And this person is continue meditating lying down 20 minutes, pain level decreased. So you, how long you did what? And then did pain level at the end increased comparing to the beginning, plus, decreased, minus. And if it didn't change, you don't have to write anything. So that's what we do as a homework. And why we do this? Because how we typically, people who have had chronic pain knows on the good days, you tend to do too much to make up lost time. Then it's overactivities, it's a boom. And then of course, your pain flares up, you have to pay for it. So then next couple of days, you might not be able to do anything. So it's a bust. And then you have good days and you do too much. So it's constant boom or bust, up and down like that. So what we are trying to do is how can we pace rather than, reacting up and down, can we pace it? So after the 5 days of activity, writing down, we try to see baseline for main activity. For example, if you had a pain worsening in sitting, like desk work or breakfast or whatever, if your pain was worse when you did 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but when you sat 20 minutes, it didn't change, for example, then we try to do 80% of shortest time that makes the pain worse. So 80% of 20 minutes is 16 minutes. This is just an example. So if someone's pain gets worse after 20 minutes, see if we can just sit only 16 minutes. Like if you are, sitting, doing desk work, maybe after 16 minutes, stand up, stretch. Or if you are having lunch with a friend, maybe after 16 minutes, go to the bathroom or stand up, or just, so we will be more mindful to adjust our body so we can pace more. So that's one. And then session 4, recognizing aversion, resistance, accepting, and self-compassion. That's a really big one. And there's a compassionate acceptance meditation and making peace with gravity. That's wonderful. So I'd like to also have you experience a little bit of this compassionate acceptance meditation, if you don't mind. Okay, so once again, sitting comfortably, your eyes can be open or closed. And then bringing your mind to the present moment, to your body and breath. And this is a meditation to learn how to very, very gently turn toward your experience of pain or difficulty and to meet it with tenderness, kindness, and compassion. So gradually gathering your awareness around the breath in the whole body, allowing yourself to be rocked and cradled by the breath. Front, side, and the back of the body. And see if you can feel the breath deeply inside. Can you rest your awareness inside the breath as it rhythmically and gently moves the body? And now with great tenderness, gently opening your awareness to include your pain, discomfort, fatigue, or difficulty, or whatever kind you are experiencing right this moment. And including it in your awareness with the kind of attitude that you would naturally have toward the loved one who was hurting or injured. Softly breathing with this experience for a few moments. If this feels frightening, then breathing with the fear, with gentleness. Coming back to rest your awareness on the breath in the body over and over again. If you feel resistant or your pain feels hard and stuck, then you might find the following image helpful. Picturing your resistance and pain as a bale of hay that you are standing or sitting beside. Imagining you are very, very gently leaning against the bale of hay, gradually giving your weight to its surface. As you lean on it, the bale gives a little bit on receiving your weight. And you realize that the surface is more pliable and yielding than you had thought. Can you get a sense of your resistance towards your pain softening in a similar way to the bale of hay as you lean into it? And all the time your body is gently moving and being rocked with a tender breath. Now allowing your awareness to become a little more precise, investigating the exact sensations of pain or discomfort. What do you feel? Do you notice the way the sensations are always changing and how no two moments are precisely the same? Like dull, sharp, heavy, light, shifting. As you come closer to your actual experience, you might realize, for example, that it's just your lower back that's hurting rather than your whole back, as you had previously thought. Can you apply this close investigation to whatever your particular difficulty is? Maybe you might even discover that some of the sensations has aspects to them that are even pleasant. things such as tingling. You might even feel a sense of relief in your heart now that you are finally turning toward your difficulty and meeting it with kindness and curiosity, rather than being locked in battle with it, which just leads to more suffering and more tension. What about your thoughts and emotions? Are you having any thoughts and emotions about your pain or difficulty right this moment? Can you let them come and go moment by moment, neither suppressing them nor over-identifying with them? Can you let them go a little bit as you rest with the basic sensations in the body, moment by moment, held by that kindly breath? Being sure to cultivate an attitude that is patient, gentle, and tender. If your experience is a little overwhelming, you can broaden your awareness to include other aspects of the moment, such as noticing sounds, noticing the temperature in the room, perhaps. Allowing your sensations of pain or discomfort to take place within a broad and open field of awareness that includes many things as they arise and pass away. If you are feeling a little blocked or numb, you might like to turn towards your experience with a little more focus, becoming curious about the actual sensations, thoughts, emotions that you are experiencing, and softening around them, using the breath to soften resistance and hardness. Imagining the breath is soothing, allowing it to naturally dissolve the resistance and hardness, even if just a tiny bit. And now saturating the breath with self-compassion. As you breathe in, imagining sense of kindliness flowing into your whole body. As you breathing out, imagining the kindness seeping even deeper, saturating the body with warmth and compassion. Breathing in and out with a deep sense of kindliness, care, tenderness, and compassion towards yourself. Allowing the whole body, including any pain or discomfort that might be there, to be rocked and cradled by the breath. And if you still feel dominated by resistance, then allowing that to be saturated by the kindly, gentle breath. Accepting all of your experience with great tenderness. And when you are ready, just coming back to the breath. And if your eyes are closed, you can open your eyes. So this is like turning point. It's a midpoint, session 4 out of 8. Yeah. So up to session 3, we are kind of becoming more aware um, and the breath as an anchor. In session 4, we are gently turning towards our difficulties with compassion towards yourself. And then we also practice at home making peace with gravity, meaning we are living in the world of gravity. So instead of, for example, if my arms are tensed up, but if I join the gravity, it just goes down, right? So kind of from moment to moment, when you notice, just joining the gravity is homework. Okay, session 5, we are now kind of broadening to notice the pleasure of small things. The importance of cultivating positive emotions. So not just painful, difficult things, but really broadening to notice the little things that are pleasant in our life. And of course, that offsets the threat system, this survival in the brain, right? The pain is more like a threat, danger is there. So our body tends to kind of prepare with flight or fight or freeze, and stress hormone gets kicked in. So this is noticing the positives, and that really offset the threat system. And then also studies show improve immune system. So we have this wonderful pleasure of treasure meditations, and I am mindful of time, however. So I guess I will skip it. So what we do here is, as you go down meditating, and then also noticing anything pleasant, such as, oh, my hands are soft, or my hands are warm, or even absence of hunger is pleasant, really. So noticing something pleasant. It can be very small things. So homework is find 10, not 3, 10 positive, pleasant things a day for a whole week. So to find 10, you really have to pay attention and noticing. So it's a cultivation of pleasure of small things. And session 6 is, again, so being whole. I love this phrase. Body like a mountain, heart like the ocean, mind like the sky. So opening up and tender gravity of kindness. So we do open heart meditation, broadening perspective, and we are sharing the brain. It's safe, okay, to relax. No need for you to release stress hormone right this moment. And session 7 is turning outward. When we suffer from chronic pain, it's very isolating because pain is not obvious to other people. You feel you are suffering alone. So it's very isolating. So now we are kind of turning outward, kind of from isolation to connection. So this, by sessions, up to session 6, we are trying to have compassion towards ourselves. Here, opening up the compassion towards others. And then we have the connection meditation, which is very similar to the meditation based on loving kindness, meaning sending well wishes, not to only ourselves, but people around us, and can be people who we love, can be people who we normally ignore, can be people we get irritated. So we practice that. And the studies are backing this practice. This Barbara Fredrickson, she is from University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She studied in 2000, I think many years, probably 6, 7, 8 years, she studied effect of loving kindness meditation. And then this article there is 2008 published, Open Hearts Build Lives, Positive Emotions Induced Through Loving Kindness Build Consequential Personal Resources. So she found it really this practice helps us broaden our perspective, open our heart, and as the result, we can access more of our inner resources, which she found diffuses the symptoms of chronic pain. And then we also practiced generosity, which is weirdly healing, powerful antidote. So people did random acts of kindness. And I wasn't sure how this would be received, but there are lots of surprises. Yeah, they felt more connected with people around them, with the world. Okay, session 8 is wrap up. So core mindfulness skills is focused awareness, focused on breath, for example, and that gives kind of calm stability. And open monitoring is kind of opening up and kind of noticing how things are, and they constantly change and shift. And loving kindness and compassion I just mentioned. And then these are some of the reasons people felt to be, attending this group. And I think I'm not going to go over this and participants' voices at the end of 8 sessions. So one person says, my relation with pain has completely changed, and I'm more in the world and less angry, irritated, and sad or depressed, which had defined my life for the last 5 years. And this 87-year-old woman was so narrowly focused pain. She was very busy going to doctor's appointments, many medical appointments. And then she realized she hadn't really had much time meeting with friends. So after the group, she said, well, that's enough for my medical appointments. I would start enjoying my life. Okay, so I'm gonna skip research. You have access to these slides. The research of my particular groups was done in UK, and it's positive. And then online of the same group was done in Sweden, and also positive. This is just a quote. So JAMA, a Journal of American Medical Association, is one of the leading medical journals in 2016, finally. It is time to make mind-body approach available for chronic low back pain. And then this is from New York Times, Science Tuesday, Jane Brody. May of last year, she had an article, millions take gabapentin for pain, but there's scant evidence it works. That was the article. But in their article, she writes, it's not that there are no other alternatives to opioids to treat chronic pain, among them physical therapy, cognitive therapy, hypnosis, and mindfulness training. And this, I had to add it. This is the last slide. It just came out, digitally available in August, just a few weeks ago. And this particular article did all the review of previous neuroscientific articles on pain. So just the 3 points. Mindfulness-based therapies produce reductions in a spectrum of chronic pain conditions through physiological, psychological, and neural mechanisms. And neuroimaging and randomized control studies confirm that mindfulness meditation reduces experimentally induced also and clinical pain. And of course, effects vary across training level. And his conclusion is these promising findings underscore potential of mindfulness-based approaches to produce long-lasting improvement in pain-related symptomology. And I think that's it. So I have 10 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Mariko. That was a wonderful presentation. I do have a couple of questions. And again, if anyone has questions, if you simply click on the Q&A icon at the bottom of your screen, you can type in your questions. The first one says, review 2 ways to reduce suffering.
Review 2 ways to reduce suffering.
Mm-hmm. It might have been something that you mentioned that the person is looking for clarification on.
What I showed, I hope, was instead of reacting to unpleasant, inconvenient, painful experience, reacting with our thoughts, emotions, which make it worse because it's a vicious circle. So instead of that, uncoupling, meaning, oh, this is a thought, my life is a mess. Even though it's a very painful thought, it's a thought. It doesn't necessarily reflect the reality or myself. So uncoupling those would reduce secondary, there's a Buddhist metaphor of first arrow and second arrow. First arrow is what happens to you. Second arrow is how you relate to the first arrow. So first arrow, you probably don't have control, but second arrow, you have a lot to do with it. So that is what we are trying to do.
Okay. All right. Excellent. I have someone else that's asking to see the slide before core mindfulness skill after session 7. I don't know if you want to bring your slide deck back up or if maybe I should just share slides after for the people who registered for the class. It's up to you.
Okay, share slide. So from...
It says the slide before core mindfulness skill after session 7.
That's probably session 8, which I didn't go. Because it's mainly wrap up. So I was more worried about time.
While you're looking at that, Mariko, somebody else says, because I'm already in therapy, insurance wouldn't also cover this, but would it still be possible to purchase your meditation CD? I found your meditations very helpful. My lower back pain dissipated during the meditation. Fascinating.
Wonderful. So, I am not really salesperson for Birch, but let me get that book. And of course, I would love to have you. Well, even when you are in psychotherapy, nowadays, if you are Medicare, there's an unlimited number of therapies you can go. So the group therapy, many people who come to my groups also have individual psychotherapy. So most likely your insurance would cover, because we used to have you can only access so many sessions a year or lifelong. But in 2014, there was a mental health equity law was passed. So, so you can check with your insurance, and we would love to have you in our group. But short of that, this is a book. Let's see, can you see it? Yeah, it's called You Are Not Your Pain. And so she has, well, I don't have it here. She had, this book has CD. This book has CD as well. So my, my own guided meditation, most are based on her CD. So you can just purchase that book and CD. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you can email me. I can be of help, perhaps. And so, do you see this slide, Jen?
I do. Mm-hmm.
You do?
Yep, I do.
Okay. So slides show from.
So you could, from current slide, that would work.
Yeah, that's what I just did. But,
okay.
But disappeared.
Oh, yeah, mine just went black. Okay, it's back. I would not touch a thing. I think
okay, it's okay. So, yeah, so I just skipped session 8 because of the time. So in session 8, this is the last session, we reviewed Mindfulness Toolkit. And, we really kind of what's the true well-being for you, and we can have well-being, including pain. Pain doesn't have to destroy your well-being. We could relate to it in a way that still keeps our well-being, sense of well-being, and cultivate. And so after session 8, there's no more homework or homework review. So we try to cultivate motivation to continue, for that person to continue practice. And then each one decide their own regular practice. And then we usually do reunion session in 4 to 6 weeks after this. So each one to decide, this is what I'm going to practice until reunion session. And I also offer MBCT, means mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. They have a silent retreat between session 6 and 7. So I usually invite all the people who have participated in my mindfulness-based therapies to join this one day, meaning 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. retreat on a Saturday at Turner Senior Resource Center. We had a whole building and it was really lovely, but with current condition, we are kind of putting everything on pause.
Okay, thank you, Mariko. I do have one more question. We've got 3 more minutes and one more question. How is chronic pain mindfulness different from stress reduction or other forms of mindfulness?
Well, I hope you get something from here. So, this is a stress reduction to reduce stress, right? But it's not just reducing stress. I'm hoping we enhance sense of well-being. So, pain is not gonna, kill you. Pain is not gonna destroy your well-being. You might have pain, but you're not gonna add to it to amplify it. So it does reduce stress, but also becoming aware, like session 5, 6, 7, becoming more aware of the positives or pleasant things in your life, even tiny bit, which we might not have noticed before, because we might have been mindlessly kind of focusing on just unpleasant, for example, and also have more sense of connection with others and broader perspective. And one image is, rather than in the ocean, rather than a little boat that goes up and up, down with each wave, we become a big yacht. Waves are there, but we navigate through it. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Mariko. We did have one last additional question, but I know we're wrapping up at time, somebody was interested on about when, where, and how group sessions on mindfulness are happening now. And so if you wanted to point a couple things out, that's fine. Or I can also email everybody who registered for this class with follow-up resources for them. So
yes. Yeah, so you know what Jen has prepared, the brochure, Turner Senior Resource Center brochure. Now it's, you know, online. You can just send them link, right? Well, they must have registered through it, right? So
yes, I have everybody's email address
yeah,
who registered for this
yeah.
session.
So all of my mindfulness-based groups are on the brochure, in the brochure of Turner Senior Resource Center. Yeah, and I usually right now, well, this afternoon, I'm gonna try Zoom mindfulness-based cognitive therapy group. So I usually put it in brochure, and I also mass email to entire U of M psychiatry, geriatrics, social work, mass email. So, and then I also am a member of another Center for Mindfulness council member. So their website, my group gets listed on their website as well. But if you contact Turner Senior Resource Center, they should know if any groups are coming up.
All right, thank you, Mariko. And I just sent a message to the person who answered or asked the question, but I will plan on sending a follow-up email to all of you who registered with additional resources so you can learn more about mindfulness-based practice for chronic pain and places where you can actively participate. If you have additional questions, I'm right now sending through the chat my email address. You're welcome to email me at any time, and I can get further resources for you. I can get in touch with Mariko or anything that you need. So that email is jwhoward@med.umich.edu. And with that, we will thank Mariko for this wonderful presentation, wonderful information for everybody. And this ends our time. So thank you all for attending, and thank you, Mariko, for the wonderful presentation.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you.
Bye-bye.